Hi, everybody. I'm really excited to introduce the latest of our ILC ClaimsTech leadership interviews. I'm excited for two reasons. One of which is it's with the Chief Exec of the MGA Association. And selfishly, from an ILC perspective, we're absolutely thrilled to have the MGA Association join us as our latest industry body partner. So we'll be hopefully seeing much more of them and their membership at our events. We're really excited about the partnership. More of that to come. But the second reason is really much more about the importance of and the emergence of MGAs as a distribution channel in UK insurance, and the fact that MGAs are very much underestimated in terms of their size and reach and influence. So I'm absolutely thrilled to have with me Mike Keating, the Chief Exec of the MGA Association. Mike, welcome to the ILC Leadership.
Good afternoon, Stuart. Good afternoon.
Now, this sounds like it might be oversimplistic, but actually I'm pretty convinced it's not, having been in and around the market. Can you tell us a little bit about what an MGA is? How do they operate?
Absolutely. So I think the first thing to probably is to rule out is that MGAs are not brokers with binders or delegated authorities. The key principle is that an MGA is acting as an agent of an insurer. So, for those sort of uneducated who may be looking at this, look at it as an MGA as a key extension to an insurer's activities. So an MGA will be concentrating on underwriting. That will be at the core of its sort of expertise. It will also be looking at niche product areas on behalf of the insurer. And effectively, its raison d'etre is to deliver underwriting profits to its insurer partner, which is completely different to a broker who acts extremely well in the market with their binders, but their duty is to their customer, not to their insurer. So that's quite a simple sort of explanation, and I'm sure we'll expand on it as we go through sort of this interview. But effectively, looking at an MGA who, as an agent of an insurer, who is providing to that insurer either niche products where they've got expertise, areas of distribution which that insurer can't get to, and the insurer is effectively lending its balance sheet and its capital for that managing general agent to underwrite on its behalf.
Why don't the insurers do it themselves? What's the value?
Good question. So effectively, there's a number of reasons for that. So one of the first ones would be that MGAs have developed, and been created through expertise around sort of niche products areas.
Right.
And these are areas where insurers will look and say, one, shall we build this ourselves with all the infrastructure, cost, recruitment, systems doing that? Or actually, why don't we partner with an MGA who clearly have got the level of expertise in underwriting, pricing, claims, distribution, and effectively they can deliver underwriting profit for us without us having to do the sort of internal investment to create that ourselves. So that is one of the areas where, a strong area where insurers clearly look to partner with MGAs to get insight and access to markets where they do not have the expertise themselves, but are very comfortable and confident in the professional managing general agent in delivering underwriting profit. I'm centering, as you can see, Stuart, very much around the pillar of underwriting expertise, because MGAs, are centered around underwriting expertise in the products in which they underwrite on behalf of their insurer capacity. That's absolutely critical. And alongside that, you won't be surprised to know that the forensic analysis of data capability, data enrichment, pricing, actuarial, all the things which you would quite rightly ascribe to an insurer's infrastructure effectively can sit within the MGA.
So give us a couple of examples of niches where that's worked really well. I think that might bring it.
Well, you can look, say, in the personal lines market. You can look, for example, at non-standard home.
Yeah.
So non-standard home in the personal lines market, and to keep it quite sort of simple, non-standard commercial property. So unoccupied properties, these are areas where, insurers particularly are uncomfortable with on a sort of on a risk appetite basis, recognise that there's a need for proper expertise in underwriting portfolios of, say, unoccupied commercial property, non-standard home being thatched properties in flood areas, all the sorts of sort of risk profiles which effectively potentially fall into a difficult box or non-standard. Then MGAs have been absolutely fantastic and very innovative, and with a very high degree of underwriting expertise, able to write in those classes of business in a profitable way.
So how does I know it won't work the same with every MGA insurer relationship, but how is the risk shared? So does it either side just get a flat commission and the rest take the kind of variable?
No. The way it would work, and there's different, as you'd expect, depending on the size of the MGA, depending on the relationship. There are different models. So effectively, an MGA will have an underwriting authority from the insurer, which would be significantly wide for that MGA to operate as a natural extension of that insurer's department. So that would be one example from that perspective. The MGA's P&L would operate on the basis that they would receive commission from the insurer, and if they're operating a distribution model on a broker basis, then they would have a retained earnings. And they would have a pay away to that broker. So that would be the financial model. But, the financial arrangement with the insurer, will centre around the underwriting and loss ratio performance. And clearly incentives through, natural transparent profit shares in, delivering that underwriting performance target or actually exceeding that underwriting performance target, provides the MGA the opportunity to acquire increased revenue as well. Hence the motivation for the MGA is to deliver an underwriting profit, because then that does a number of things. Effectively, it cements the partnership with your insurer partner because they've invested their capital in the MGA to receive underwriting profit. It cements the partnership in terms of what other areas or risk appetite can we work together as a partner, and obviously it gives the MGA confidence that it's got a long-term relationship with that insurer going forward. Because in the current market, which is where there's experience of pretty significant increase in premiums in terms of a hard market, that's also been coupled with a nature of a contraction of capacity as well, and that contraction of capacity can actually sort of take the form of probably three areas. One is where effectively is a complete change in strategy from the executive board of an insurer, where they say we don't want to do this anymore, which was in their remit. It can be where insurers effectively want to basically pull back slightly on their exposure into the MGA market for whatever reasons. And thirdly, and probably the most commonly, is where insurers are uncomfortable and unhappy with the MGA's performance from an underwriting perspective. And that's where, the MGA has to consistently be looking at its underwriting performance, its provision of data, its pricing, all the areas which have, I'm sure we'll come onto it, a natural alignment with claims in order both to sustain its capacity, but more importantly, to sustain it and look at the opportunities to grow into other areas.
So yeah, you nicely led into claims there, and I think you really powerfully painting a picture of underwriting profit is everything, but obviously underwriting profits is a consequence of how much premium you collect against how many claims you pay. So
Correct.
And I'm sure there isn't a single model, but what are the different ways that MGAs can handle claims?
Okay, so there is, you're right, there's a number of models. There's three probably I'd like to share. There's one where the MGA takes a strategic decision as to not get involved in claims in any shape or form, and that will go into the insurer.
Yeah.
There are positives and challenges to that, which be useful to explore. There's the second model where MGAs partner with, you know, the very good and very professional claims TPAs. You know, and we know who they are, all your sort of members under ILC, and that forms a very, very strong partnership, and normally would operate in a tri-party arrangement with the insurer, the claims TPA and the MGA. And the third model is where the MGA, and we have a number of members which actually have adopted this model, where they actually have their own claims in-house team. So they're effectively operating on a claims authority from that insurer, you know, taking FNOL and actually, you know, moving under that authority, sort of handling and settling the claims themselves. So there are positives in all of those three models, Stuart, but obviously there are sort of challenges in all those three models as well.
In what circumstances does the in-source work, and in what circumstance does the outsource work best? Just I know it's a tough question, Mike, but just
I think it's you know, it can be linked to the product class. Okay, so you know, clearly that if it's sort of low value claims but high volume, then you know, some MJs may feel that trying to invest their own infrastructure can be quite expensive in doing that, and therefore by outsourcing to a claims TPA or back to the insurer who've got, you know, these large claims operations, who've got the efficiencies and all the necessary areas to compensate, that works. If you're moving to more sort of real forensic and specialist type claims, so if you look at cyber, for example, you know, where you really need specialist sort of claim service and a real sort of true understanding of the policy coverage and how claims can evolve, and certainly how they evolve and how you can quickly intervene to sort of minimise sort of fraud, leakage, indemnity spend, then obviously that may well be more of an internal model, because the product is so niche that, you know, the number of experts or the number of claims people just doesn't exist in the big claims world to actually service those claims properly. So I would suggest that is one of the key sort of metrics which you would look as to whether in-source or outsource.
Yeah. So just to paraphrase, I guess where it's a standard product that with a volume solution, you buy, and where it's very complex you make, because you'll just need one or two people who will be real experts in what they do.
Or alternatively, you'd go even on the forensic or the forensic sort of challenging or very niche product. You may well go to a specialist claims TPA who've got their own sort of you know, expertise in that particular area. The key thing, as you know, as you would know, as your members know, the key thing is to make sure whatever model you decide to adopt, that the alignment and the understanding of what you need to be doing for the customer, you know, both in fairness, integrity, you know, the interaction between, you know, the correspondence, the data, so that, you know, everything from a regulatory and from a customer service is preserved and delivered at the highest possible standards, is absolutely critical. And we cannot ignore, probably going back now, maybe 2015, 16, where there was the FCA thematic sort of claims review for the sub £5,000 claims, which I was personally involved in when I was working at an MGA, and clearly the immediate response from the FCA was that, you know, the communication line was too long to the detriment of the customer, and that's when you've got MGA, claims TPA, loss adjuster, etc. You know, it's like anything. The more people in the chain, the more chance there is for error. So that's another very important consideration for all MGAs when they decide what claims model they want to adopt.
That's really fascinating. That fits really nicely into our ClaimsTech focus as well, because that's very much been focused about how you shorten those lines of communication, how you make them most efficient and effective, and deliver outcomes as quickly and as accurately as possible using technology. So that really lovely link back into ClaimsTech. And another link back, I guess, is that we're seeing increasingly insurtech insurers emerging. And a number of them are coming onto the market as MGAs. Why is that such why is that such an appealing prospect for them? Or why is the MGA model? Why does it work for them particularly?
Well, there's a number of areas. You've got, obviously, if they're raising capital, you've got the SEIS and EIS sort of advantages from a tax perspective.
Yeah.
And I don't think today, or budget day, I don't think the Chancellor's done anything to effectively sort of remove that. So that's one example. The second example is that, by creating an MGA, you're retaining and actually innovation, which is obviously at the bedrock of InsurTechs, the agility to sort of move your product, and how you place it, how you distribute it, in a very, very sort of quick and agile way. All sort of the attributes of an MGA and sort of InsurTech MGAs are built around innovation, agility, the ability to react quickly to sort of customer sort of needs. And effectively, and I'm sure most insurers would quite rightly concede, is that because of their nature of their size, it's not as easy for them to do that sort of things and that react. Yeah. And that's why a lot of insurers are keen to partner with InsurTech and sort of start up MGAs by providing capacity, because their ability to get route to market quickly far exceeds what a big organisation can do. And that's not a criticism of big organisations, that's just a fact of life, from that perspective. So that the obviously funding and the tax benefits for sort of startups is one area, but I think more importantly is the ability around innovation, agility, react quickly to market requirements, and sort of manoeuvre your MGA model to meet those market and your customer requirements is absolutely paramount.
You can that really resonates as well, Mike, because it's not just a question of the insurers providing capacity. You can see insurers taking a much more of a financial interest in the business,
exactly,
as well, can't you, to give themselves that route to maybe new sources of distribution a bit more quickly using technology. That really.
And you're right, Stuart. Because at the end of the day, insurers and I think insurers should be sort of given credit for they've all got their own innovation departments, but I think they should be given credit for the fact they're looking beyond that horizon as to what is out there and actually embracing the innovation which is coming from InsurTechs and the startups. And the example would be how sort of InsurTech MGAs have really embraced the gig economy and how they're sort of creating sort of very flexible products to meet the insurance requirements of the gig economy. From my old insurer days, that would be extremely difficult to sort of bring to market as quickly as you'd need to sort of meet the demands of the gig economy. So I think that's a great advert for the profession, I think,
and for the MGA model as well, which is great. Just finally, can you give us a couple of examples of MGA success stories and maybe what differentiated them, why they really did?
I think it would be unfair of me to sort of highlight some individual members' success stories, because all of my members are extremely successful. But I think where MGAs in niche and difficult or challenging sort of product segments, where they've been very, very successful is talking to their brokers in terms of, and the majority is their distribution, really understanding from their distribution, the challenges for the end customer in terms of getting insurance. And this could be in some of the areas we've covered in sort of, non-standard property or a non-standard home, non-standard motor, anything outside sort of the main. And really building products which actually really fit that customer need. Yeah. And actually, when you're in a sort of niche sort of product suite, what you want as that particular end customer is a product which really talks to you around, this is exactly what I need, and I'm not being shoehorned into a vanilla type product. This is what I require. And MGAs are and continue to be absolutely fantastic at doing that. I'm very proud of our sort of membership in terms of continuing to provide innovative, products and solutions to brokers and ultimately to the end consumer.
Like, I know it's
a very diplomatic answer, but
You know what, Mike? I know you're a big football fan, and that was the classic manager who's not going to single out a single player to say he was the one who won the game. I think that was brilliant. Mike, thank you so much. That's been an absolute pleasure and a real education. I think it'll be an education for a lot of us in the claims market in terms of what an MGA does. But I guess more importantly, the development of the role and the importance that they'll play in the insurance distribution chain as the months and years go by, and therefore all the more important that the claims world engages with MGAs so that we're properly understanding their needs and able to satisfy them. Mike, thank you so much for the time. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thanks very much, Stuart. All the best.